What's up, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Profit Picks. If you are new, we do always start the show by being transparent. Yesterday, I ended up with one play, and it was a winner. Uh, Lakers and Thunder over 213 and a half. and man, it's another one of those games. We've had some of those games before. I think it was the Spurs and Minnesota game that started off, like that first half, but that second half was a beautiful thing from the gambling gods for myself. So um, by halftime, I'm sure you can imagine how many tequilas I had. but I'm happy I eventually got there. It's good to have you back, Vino. How's everything with you?
We're good, Skee. Had a 2-1 last night. The two good ones came from the early game. Had the Cavaliers team total over 108 and a half. It's just, by now they have developed a trend that I think I just followed it blindly again last night. Just play them at home, and you can play their team total at home. They've gone over that number. I think 108 and a half was the number last night. They've gone over it like seven straight times against this team. So, and in the playoffs as well. And I also, here's a lucky one, Skee. I took a prop last night, Sam Merrill, over 5.5 points. Thought it was low. We know that they've constantly talked about how important he is. He makes two threes within about 45 seconds of the second quarter to go over, and then misses every other shot he takes for the rest of the game. He's like 2 for 8 all night long. So we got lucky there. Where we got unlucky is the opposite of what you had. I had OKC, LA Lakers over first half, 104 and a half. OKC had played 7 playoff games, gone over in every single one over that number. So I just thought, well, why step in front of that train? Let's play it again. But first half, very low scoring. Second half, very high scoring. Glad you got it right. I got them mixed up. But we, 2-1, we ground out a little more. I'll give the numbers real quick before we get going here. Combined for the playoffs, 55 and 32. That's 63.2%. Combination up 57 units for the playoffs.
Hey, we're doing some nice work, man. Let's see if we can keep it going here today. We got some NBA, well, one NBA game, three WNBA games. So let's start at the top. That means we are going to go with T Wolves Spurs game 5. Opened up minus 10.5. I see mostly tens or 9.5 actually popping up now. Total has gone up from 217.5. Uh, I'll call it consensus 218.5 right now. Nobody on the injury report for Minnesota. For Spurs, you have Harper questionable. He actually was downgraded to doubtful. I think it was. Let me just make sure. Let me actually click on that. And then De'Aaron Fox is questionable for tonight. Um, no, I'm sorry. Maybe he was just downgraded to questionable for Dylan Harper. Maybe I just read that as doubtful in my mind when I saw it. But what do you think about this, Vino? I don't know. It feels pretty interesting to see nobody on the injury report for Minnesota. I mean, we know how banged up Ant is. We know how banged up Nas Reed is. His shoulder, his ankle. I mean, nobody's on the injury report, but somehow there's two people on the injury report for the Spurs. Any thoughts on that?
Well, the one who isn't on the injury report will be the angriest guy on the floor tonight, and that's Wemby. Um, Gets ejected second quarter. You talk about Nas Reed being banged up. He took a shot and a half with that elbow. God, that was pretty rough. Yeah, for the T Wolves, I don't. It's hard for me to even consider Anthony Edwards injured anymore. The way he's performed the last two games, 30 plus in each of those, he just looks like he'll play through anything and play well while he's at it. The Dylan Harper and De'Aaron Fox things are interesting. Um, it's one of those where maybe we have to wait a little bit because I don't know that I saw anything serious enough to keep those two guys out of this game. I will say this: if they do both miss, this game doesn't look like an over anymore to me. These last three games have gone way over because, and I think maybe you mentioned it, game two. that the sideline report was talking about how these teams wanted to go fast. And when I watch these last two games, the pace of these games is crazy. Like if they really did make shots, these games would be in the 250s. They're getting to where they're getting to without really great shooting. For the series, Minnesota shooting 42%. Not great. San Antonio 47, pretty good, but still, if they had shot extremely well in these last three games, they would be in a 250. So if pace is there, you still have to be a little concerned. But without Harper and Fox, and again, this is a huge if. We don't know this right now, but these guys play. I think I would have to go back to the over well. At least with San Antonio, we'll see if Wembanyama comes out and blocks 12 shots. Uh, but like I say, Ski, the pace here has been incredible, and it just overwhelms the fact that you don't get great shooting percentages. Like, well, they didn't shoot so good, but it doesn't matter if you're getting that many attempts at shots. Minnesota, just to put this into perspective, the last two games, Minnesota has had 99 and 94 field goal attempts. The last three games combined, these teams 180 shots at the basket, 184 and 178. Those are like the highest totals in the playoffs almost. So pace is there. We'll see what the injuries do, but it probably would kind of, without Fox and Harper, if that's the case, it would kind of take me off of the over a little bit. But if they play, I don't see any reason not to go back to the well with over.
I agree with your thoughts on the total completely. And I also agree that you said, you didn't see anything significant to keep those guys from playing. I mean, Fox, like Brian says, he thinks he'll play because he got injured and he still finished game 4. Like, I don't see anything that's keeping him out of this game right here. The most important game so far of the series. Harper, I don't think he's going to miss either. But that back to my initial question that I asked, I feel like this is my personal opinion. This is me not. I'm not saying this is definite. My personal opinion is they're putting there. There's no way. There's nobody on the injury report for Minnesota, and there's people on there for San Antonio. I've seen these guys laboring, and I know they're hurt for Minnesota. I know they're banged up. It feels like they want you to see a couple guys on the injury report for San Antonio and go bet Minnesota. That's my personal opinion, and I think they both play. I think that Wemby, regardless, he's the freshest player on the court for both teams and the best player. And he's probably going to be pissed after getting kicked out. So I think he'll make a hell of a difference. It's not going to be free reign just going to the rim anymore for Minnesota like they had in that last game. So I think the Spurs are the right side. And if I think Fox and Harper are playing, then like you said, I think that's an over game. Any other thoughts, Fino?
Yeah, that's something you just said that I remembered from watching the last game. You're absolutely right. Minnesota had no fear of going into the paint and going to the rim after he got ejected. I mean, they were just free willing right in there. What are you going to do about it? And they couldn't do anything about it. So yeah, it's always a different game when 7'5" is standing there with his length. I agree with everything. And to your point, really quick, and then we'll get to the W. We've seen, even though these guys have played for Minnesota, we've continued to see them at least listed on the injury report as questionable up until now. Now, all of a sudden, they're not on the injury report anymore. So it could be a little bit of shenanigans, so to speak,
Shenanigans.
maybe. Hey,
I've
look
seen
this
this
way. We don't
before.
want to. Yeah, we've seen it before. Quick look over here. Yeah, so it's anything's possible, right? Anything's possible.
Man, I just found some money in my pocket. I like when that happens.
Yeah.
Having hornies, I guess I must have left something in there. But yeah, I've seen this before, Rob. But I think you know where I'll be at on this game. All right, we can move over to WNBA, and we will start with the Dream and the Wings. This one opened up minus. I have 1.5 as my opener. I'm seeing. We'll call it 2. We'll call it 2 the consensus. Total has gone up from 178. Seen it as high as 180.5, but I mean it's all over. There's 180.5, there's 179, and everything in between. So depending on what you like, absolutely make sure you line shop. Um, my bad. Let me get back to WNBA injury report. That's my bad. I had it queued up and I screwed it up. So there we go. Brianna Jones, we know she's going to be out for a while. That's a big loss for the Dream. The number one draft pick for the Dallas Wings looks like that's actually probable. She'll be out there. You know, my first thought when I see these two teams is, man, this looks like a lot of points. I mean, Paige, Odyssey Sims, Enrique, that's three bucket getters right there. And they showed it in that first game. For Atlanta, I mean, I really like the construction of their starting five. I feel like, yes, they need Bree, and they'll probably change the starting five, but similar to like, and I'm not saying they're on the same level right now, but I'm just saying there was the year the Warriors won, they had that they called it the death lineup, and it was like, I think it was Draymond at the five, and Jordan Poole stuff. I don't know. This lineup, it's a little bit smaller. They don't have a traditional center, but I like the construction of this Atlanta lineup. That makes me want to back Atlanta. It makes me think that both teams can score. But the hold up here is, to start this year, we've had, it's been a lot of overs. I think it's only been two unders so far. And, they did make a, how do you call it, emphasis on wanting to call the games a certain way, like freedom of movement. They've been talking a lot about that. And, they're trying to make it less physical, I guess, and more offensive. Now, we got, we have three totals here today. I mean, they're all sky high. I mean, at some point, are they, factoring in what we're thinking here? And that's my hold up and back and looking towards the over at this number. What are you thinking with Dream and Wings?
Well, your last thought there, I totally agree with. And when when totals start to stop me in my tracks from playing over, that means to me it's like there's a borderline here. Okay, we're going to cross 181 and a half, and these totals are going to keep going up because of the new style of player, at least the new refereeing, or at some point these numbers always get too high, right? I watched every second of that Dallas Indiana game on Saturday. Two things here. Number one, you listed the three bucket getters for Dallas. And I would further that in saying that picking off the two bigs from the Lynx, Alana
Yes.
Smith and Jessica Shepard, is a huge difference. I mean, they're a pretty well constructed team right now as well. Watching Shepard just run the floor every single time and get the ball delivered to her a few times, but it just goes to show you, like, it's kind of, I mean, they're probably not as fast as having Angel Reese at center, but they're pretty fast. They're really fast, as a matter of fact, and they can shoot. So it didn't look like there was any trouble with ball sharing on that team. Enrique had a handful of assists as well. She was, passing the basketball. So they look like, chemistry wise, they're pretty good shape here. I think the question for me becomes, how good is Atlanta defensively? Because Indiana stinks. They're the same thing, and not that Dallas is good either, because Dallas isn't really good defensively. These teams, those two teams in particular, are out there to run the floor. We're better than you. We'll score more than you. Not a heck of a lot of defense, but especially Caitlin Clark got eaten alive in that game on the perimeter. So certainly Atlanta can do their damage. The problem for me is, they gave up 90 to the Lynx, and the Lynx are without Collier. Now, the Lynx, I actually bet that game over that day, and there was a big push toward the over that morning. But when I looked at their lineup, I thought, they still have scores on this team. So maybe Atlanta's not really good. Maybe both of these teams are just out to score the way Dallas and Indiana were. I'm a little bit torn here. This total is 4 points higher than where the Indiana, I think I had Indiana Dallas was 178 and a half the other day. So 181. They've raised it a couple of points here. We'll see, Skee. You have to make shots, but I'll say this: you're going to get a lot of opportunities in this game to make shots. I don't know. It makes it a little bit tough. We see the money movement to Atlanta, which was your thought as far as side is concerned. I don't know if I'm as high if I could get to Atlanta, just because I think Dallas can score on anybody. And again, my question is actually, to just sum this all up, how good can Atlanta be defensively? Because if they're no better than Indiana, then Dallas is going to score 100. If they are better than Indiana, maybe Dallas gets beat here.
Yeah, maybe this is one a good one. It's definitely a good one to watch. Might just have to learn in this game rather than make a wager. Um, let's see what else we have here. We have Liberty and Fire, and opened up 13 and a half. Looks like 13 total going up from 169 and a half to 174. So big move towards the over. I mean, another high total here. We know the Liberty have been putting up big numbers. Liberty look like they're without Rebecca Allen, Carrera, Bebic, Sabrina, Sabali again. For the Fire, they're without a few people as well. Some shooters, Sutton, Samuelson. I'm sorry, Sutton is game time. Samuelson is out. This is probably the one I have the least opinion on, but I would think I don't really trust this Portland team to like out of the three games. This is the one I would most likely want to go and play an under in. Like I don't agree with the total going up. I know the Liberty have been scoring, but I don't trust the Portland side, and I need more time to just watch this team. I mean, this is a newly constructed team. I just I don't have strongest opinions on them yet. Anything from you, Vino, Liberty, and Fire.
Yeah, a couple of things. I'm going to break out the potential points, Ski, because I had to make sure I was getting these numbers early on in the WNBA to see exactly how quickly or how slowly these teams are going to play. The New York Liberty against Connecticut, that game, if every single shot went in the hoop, would have scored 399 points. It's the highest regulation game so far. Connecticut only had 4 threes and still got to 75. Um, Second game, New York plays Washington, who was a nightmare, had me pulling the hair out of my head because I had Washington -1.5 on Friday night against Toronto, but they couldn't make a shot to save their lives. But Washington comes out and scores 93. Granted, it was overtime. Potential points in that game, 408. You're getting a lot of chances with the Liberty here. Connecticut's obviously a bad team, much like Portland. My thoughts on Portland really quick, and this is only one game, so don't hold me to it. They look a lot like Golden State from last year. The mentality is the home crowd was enormous, much like Golden State was a college atmosphere last year. And the philosophy here is, we're going to launch threes the way Golden State Valkyries did to start the year last year. They don't play a lot of defense, Ski. I think New York can score. I don't want to lay points with New York because I don't think they're kind of shorthanded. I mean, their injury list is insane. Only have like 7 or 8 bodies. So for me, I passed on this one, but I wouldn't be all that surprised if these two did climb over the number, because I think even Portland, with a brand new offense and brand new players, so far against Connecticut and Washington, New York showed me that they'll give up points.
All right, last game on the slate. Lynx and Mercury opened up -3.5 for the Mercury, and 4.5 is what we see now. Total open 169.5. It's actually coming down. I'm seeing 168.5, maybe even 168 popping up now. Let's refresh just to make sure injuries and stuff. I don't see anything new. We know Fee is out, Dorka is out, Makani's out for Phoenix, Sammy's out as well. Um, it's Minnesota team. I mean, talked about they still have some scorers. Yeah, and they have. I mean, Olivia Miles looked great.
Yeah.
Great point guard play allows Courtney Williams to go back to playing the two, and it's a team that looks like they want to play up tempo. You know, seems like, and they're not the biggest team. I mean, neither one of these teams have the most size. I would like to think that. Like I disagree with the market pushing this one down. I think this one is more of an over game. And honestly, I want to think that Minnesota can keep this one respectable. What do you think here, Vino?
Yeah, you know what? I didn't make the point. You made it for me. when I was talking about Minnesota before. Olivia Miles, for anybody who followed her college career, Notre Dame and TCU, she's rapid pace. And it was either Kayla McBride or maybe Courtney Williams, one of them in the post game talked about how special she's going to be. She's just nonstop energy. And I agree with you that Minnesota, right now, without Collier, and even maybe when she comes back, is going to be way more of an up tempo team than we saw last year because Miles is going to run the show here. Um, I think it's probably an over in this game. Phoenix came out and absolutely destroyed Las Vegas on Saturday and then came back to earth in Golden State the next day. And I think that's the way Phoenix's season is going to go, Skee. Looking at their starting lineup, they're going to be really good at times, and there's other times where they're going to fall flat. But they can score, and they can probably score on this team. And Phoenix still likes to play up tempo. So I kind of like the over in this game, thinking that, 170 is probably the new baseline for a lot of these games where teams both want to go quick and they get ref whistles nowadays. Ask the Chicago Sky, they got a ton of whistles against Portland just by going into the paint. So I'm with you. I think that game probably gets over. Tough to pick a winner there. Maybe Phoenix is a little overpriced. I can tell you just quickly that power rating wise, I made Phoenix 3. They opened 3.5. They're up to 4.5. Money went against Minnesota in the first game too, and Minnesota covered. So maybe there's just a lack of respect for the Lynx out there right now.
All right, that's the card for today. So before we, well, actually, it's $5 Tuesday, so you know how these days go. We're gonna go ahead and wrap it up, man. $5 Tuesday. Both Rob Veno and myself have a top play on our page. You can check us out. See if you maybe like the write up, see how it goes. Maybe you want to be involved longer. If you do, I mean, they do have this going right here. Double the NBA Court Vision. You can get 3 days for $59. Both Rob Vino and myself for the NBA only. It's not the WNBA. So both of our plays for the NBA for only $59. And I'm going to continue to put this one up there because, like I said, I'm going to shout it out. I'm not sure if it's still supposed to be there or not, but I'm not telling anybody to take it down. WNBA early bird pricing. You get the rest of the NBA playoffs for free. And 1-0 start to the WNBA for me so far. We just rattled off some numbers as far as how we've been doing in the playoffs, etc. Vino, anything else you want to throw out there, promote anything like that?
No, I'm glad that promo is still up there for the WNBA, and I'm glad that you mentioned $5 Tuesday, so we don't have to be bullied into any selections here. I'm going to keep it to myself. It is up and available on my page at WagerTalk.com. So, guys, for $5, you can go ahead and find out. And well, let's just repeat it really quick here, Skee. NBA playoffs are 2 weeks old. 63.2% up 57 units combined. So if you still want to get involved in that 45-23 package, it's been going really well for the two of us.
Let's see if we can keep it going here tonight. Vino, I always appreciate you taking the time to cap these games with me. Helps my process, and I'm sure, helps everybody else as well. Chat, you already know we appreciate you guys. Best of luck on all your action, and we will catch you guys again tomorrow.